Now to Sydney, where head of the ABA, Anna Bligh, is speaking. Let's take a look.
Small businesses in Australia employ 5 million people. This package is designed to help them keep doing just that. This assistance package will apply to more than $100 billion of existing small business loans. It could put as much as $8 billion back into the pockets of small businesses as they struggle through this virus. This is a multi-billion-dollar shot in the arm for businesses when they need it most. It is a multi-billion-dollar lifeline to small businesses when they need it most to keep the doors open and to keep employing Australians. Small businesses can rest assured that if they need this help, they will get it. Banks are right now putting in place fast-tracked processes. They are right now calling their business customers, and they look to having these packages begin to roll out as early as Monday. Businesses, I know, are doing it very tough. They are very worried about what might come next. They can rest assured that their banks have got their back.
What's the situation for residential mortgage customers?
This package of support for small businesses today is designed to impact the most critical and urgent need, and that is loan repayments for small businesses. At this stage, banks report that they are not seeing any high volume of anyone in distress with mortgages. What they are seeing is a rapidly and exponentially increasing volume of calls from small businesses in distress, unable to meet payments. This package is designed to go hard and as fast as possible to small businesses because that is where it is needed most today in order to avoid more people being out of work and then falling into mortgage distress. We understand that this is a very rapidly moving set of circumstances. As the government is having to evolve their response, if there is a need that emerges in relation to mortgages, banks will, of course, look at what might need to be done. But I can say to anybody who is individually concerned about their mortgage, there is assistance that banks can provide already, and anyone who is concerned should not hesitate to be ringing their bank. We have worked hand in glove with the government, with the Treasurer, to determine what is the most urgent and critical need. And there is absolutely no doubt that urgent and critical need, and it's a view shared by banks and by the government, and we're seeing the evidence in our call centres, it is to help small business as quickly as possible, keep the doors open, keep people in work, and then we won't see as many Australians potentially falling into mortgage stress.
How quickly will small businesses be able to find out if their payments will be suspended?
All small businesses who are impacted by COVID-19 are entitled to this 6-month deferral of payments. They will only have to register their need with their bank, and the provisions will be put in place on a fast track. Sorry.
That's right. Sorry. Right. So, just answer the question.
Yeah. Banks will make sure that this deferral of payments is available to any small business that is in critical need because of COVID-19. All that business will have to do is to register their need with their bank. Banks are not going to wait for businesses to come to them. They are right now out in the field talking to their business customers, putting things out through their customer channels and telling customers how they can reach their bank to access this deferral of payments. Banks want to make sure that every small business knows they are now able to get 6 months deferral on all loans associated with the business, and we are fast-tracking that to get those provisions in place as soon as possible. Every bank is now reaching out to their customers to tell them what they have to do for their own bank.
Can I just check that I heard you correctly, that you said that if a lot of residential mortgage customers start showing signs of distress, that this may be extended to residential mortgages?
Banks have today made a very important decision that will help those in most critical need, and it's small businesses. If we start to see any similar critical need in other parts of the community, including mortgages, that is something that they know they will have to look at. But at this stage, the most urgent and pressing need is for small businesses, and this package delivers across $100 billion worth of small business loans. It delivers up to $8 billion back into the pockets of small businesses as they battle with this virus and its impacts on their business. We know that this is going to keep evolving. Just as we've worked with the government this week, we will continue to work with them, and as we see trends in other parts of banking, we will do what we can to respond.
Are there any particular industries in regards to small businesses that will have a priority of these loans, or is it across the board to anybody that needs?
This deferral of payments for 6 months for small businesses will go to any small business that is impacted by COVID-19. We know there are some industries that are already showing signs, but this package is not restricted to any sector or any industry. Any small business that is now struggling as a result, that is feeling the impacts, we want to get it out to as many businesses as quickly as possible so they can keep their doors open and keep employing Australians.
The Reserve Bank yesterday said it was going to pump in $90 billion into the banking system to be lent to small business. Does your announcement today suggest that you have a different view from the Reserve Bank as to what's best? It seems to be you're implying that businesses won't want to borrow.
Getting through this will require a great deal of cooperation between banks, government and regulators, and I know that the decision yesterday by the Reserve Bank to inject low-interest loans into those banks that may be able to lend out into the sector was very welcome by banks. There are many small businesses that are struggling with loan repayments, and this deferral will help them. There are other small businesses that may need access to more working capital, may be able to take on more borrowings to help them and their employees get through it. If a small business needs to take on more borrowings, then they should also be talking to their banks. There is money there to lend to those who can take on more debt.
Just a clarification on the definition of small business, is that up to 100 employees?
Banks will be looking to work with any business that is in the small to medium category. Every bank, these are for existing customers, every bank knows who their small businesses are. We won't be looking to draw arbitrary lines that lock people out. Banks know who their small business customers are. They might define them slightly differently, but they won't be looking to draw arbitrary lines in the sand. This is about getting this relief as quickly as possible into the hands of small businesses, giving them the certainty that this particular outgoing can be taken off their books for the next 6 months as they struggle to keep their doors open.
It may be months, years down the track, but once the recession bites, will there be some banks outside of the Big Four in some trouble in this country?
Australia right now is blessed to have one of the strongest and most stable banking systems in the world. Whether they are large or small banks, Australia's banks are better capitalised than they have ever been. Their balance sheets are stronger than they have ever been, and they stand ready, open for business, open to lend to those businesses that may need that. Banks right now, Australian banks and the Australian community are reaping the benefit of 10 years of work to increase their capital buffers. You increase these buffers so that when the rainy day comes, you have what it takes to do what's needed.